Welcome to the 19th of December here on TNT, whipping around Thailand, checking some of the main news stories. And yes, I am going to try and get as many wears out of this shirt before Christmas. So let's start with a very important story. Covered in Calcite English, a TikTok user posted a viral video clip showing passengers of a bus from Bangkok to Pattaya suffering from severe foul smell as a result of persistent farting from an elderly female Chinese passenger. The clip, which showed passengers struggling to cope with the olfactory crisis, has attracted over 600,000 views so far. Well, I feel your pain, but I'm also wondering what the poor Chinese woman had eaten to cause her such distress. Okay, on to some other news. And this covered by Channel 7 in Australia. Christopher Stephen Boucher, Australian businessman found dead in Thailand's Koh Pha Ngan after full moon party. Headlined as an Australian businessman, but as we'll find out, he's actually a British expat. And Christopher Stephen Boucher, a British expat who lived in Sydney's Northern Beaches, was found dead on the steps of a 7-Eleven at around 7:30am on Monday. And if you're looking for a definition, the full moon party was held on Koh Pha Ngan, an island in the Gulf of Thailand, renowned for its monthly celebrations linked to the lunar calendar, where revellers drink alcohol out of buckets and celebrate with little supervision. Yes, these days it's got a lot less to do with the lunar calendar and a lot more to do with what's in those buckets. However, he was found unresponsive near an ATM, with authorities believing he'd been trying to get cash out in the moments before his death to pay the local driver. And police are reviewing CCTV footage, hoping to discover who drove Mr. Boucher from the party to the ATM and why they left him. Mr. Boucher, originally from Kent in the UK, was discovered with a plastic drinking bottle and his New South Wales driving licence. And police said there were no signs of assault, so we believe he might have been drunk or overdosed. His blood test results are still pending. And whilst there will be a certain focus on the duty of care by the organisers of the full moon party, this certainly isn't the first death related to the full moon party on Koh Pha Ngan. It's also a matter of personal choices, making better choices about what you're putting into your own body, particularly in relation to what happened in Laos earlier this month. Okay, to a bit more focus on the mop-up of the flooding down in southern Thailand. Thai PBS World reporting Surat Thani's agri-sector suffering significant losses due to floods. And farmers in Surat Thani province are experiencing major losses due to this year's flooding. Oil palm and rubber plantations, as well as shrimp farms in the Kanchanadit district, have been swamped. Hundreds of households are underwater. And a villager told a reporter that the floodwater is much higher than usual, even though, in fact, the water is at the similar depth as in 2011. More people are suffering this year. Additionally, high tides are slowing the drainage of flood water. A heavy rainfall in Surat Thani province from December the 14th to the 18th has caused flooding of roads, plantations and residences in 17 districts. As many as 50,000 households are affected. 8 people have died, 2 people have been injured, 1 person is missing. So exactly where is Surat Thani? Up the top you've got Bangkok, and in red I've encircled the province of Surat Thani, which also includes the other 3 Gulf islands just off the coast, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan and Koh Tao. The blue dot is where I live, and you've got Phuket and Krabi down there in the south. And as far as we know, the rail lines, the major roads, also all the airports in southern Thailand for these areas that were affected by the floods are now open, but people should check if their plans do include part of those affected areas as the mop-up in those severely flooded areas continue. And just a very quick clip from that Bioluminescence tour video we made for 5 Star Marine. So what exactly is the bioluminescence? It's the ability of tiny marine animals to produce and emit light. They will emit this light when disturbed, sometimes white, sometimes green or blue, creating a glow in the water when anything else comes into contact with them. There's links in that video, also links under this particular video if you'd like to find out more about the tours with 5 Star Marine, to the very important issue now of human trafficking here in Thailand. Concerns mount over human trafficking via Thailand. And two House committees have begun discussing calls by 14 countries for Thailand's support for their efforts to help free their citizens who have been trafficked into Myanmar by scam centre gangs. Hundreds of foreigners are currently trapped by online scamming and human trafficking rings that operate just across the Moi River from Mae Sot in the Tak province of Thailand. They use Thailand as a gateway to what one advocacy group has called Hell on Earth. And comments from a Fair Party List MP, Kanawi Subsang, and he says even though Thailand has in place mechanisms for screening and helping human trafficking victims, this problem needs to be tackled at its root cause. We can't intercept just every single act of trafficking in people, as more than 100,000 foreigners enter Mae Sot every year. Mr Kanawi said his goal in raising the issue in the House was to ask the Prime Minister and her deputy overseeing security affairs to come up with a new, more comprehensive mechanism to cope with the growing problem. Myawaddy, the area in question, lies just across the Moi River. We'll check the map in just a moment. Much of the area is under the control of the Karen Border Guard Force, the BGF, and the Democratic Karen Buddhist Army, who earn substantial revenues from the criminal enterprises. Now, these two groups are two of the main ethnic groups who are fighting the current Burmese junta. So trying to work out who are the goodies and the baddies in Myanmar at the moment is a very complex question. Just checking the map to where we're talking about here, the red dot there is Myawaddy. Down the bottom you've got Bangkok up the top of the map, but Chiang Mai in Thailand. And zooming in, we can see Myawaddy just across the border there in Myanmar from Mae Sot. And as we've reported in the past, a lot of these scam gangs set up in Myanmar, just leeching off the Thai telecommunications system. The Civil Society Network for Victim Assistance in Human Trafficking said it had information that more than 300 people from more than 10 nations are being detained and forced to work for online scamming and other criminal syndicates in Myanmar. Which leads us to some very important meetings being held in Bangkok over the next few days. Reported in ThaiPBSWorld.com, high hopes for progress, ASEAN and Myanmar crisis talks in Bangkok. And as Laos concludes its ASEAN chairmanship, the crisis in Myanmar remains a number one challenge, with expectations mounting for breakthroughs during the December 19 and 20 meetings in Bangkok. And Thailand, hosting the meeting at a 5-star hotel, not sure why that's relevant, highlights its interest in the stability of its neighbour. Bordering countries, including China, India and Bangladesh, share similar concerns about how the conflict spills over into their territories. And key topics include border management, trade disruptions, cybercrime and the humanitarian crises. Yeah, all those things look good in the minutes of the meeting, but be assured they'll be talking about drug trading and they'll be talking about these online call centre scam gangs. And one question remains, can ASEAN and its partners turn conflict to collaboration and from division to unity? Well, the short answer is no. ASEAN at the end of the day is a trading bloc for the 10 Southeast Asian member countries, but it's been dragged into this position where it's going to have to try and play mediator for the Myanmar conflict. Couple of lighter stories, and we'll start with this one up in Pattaya, reported by thepattianews.com. Russian tourist fined in Pattaya for decorating car with flashy Christmas-themed lights. And a Russian tourist was fined in Pattaya for decorating his car with flashing Christmas lights. The tourist claimed he was completely unaware it was illegal in Thailand. I better be careful wearing this shirt when I'm driving the car. And during a patrol, police came across a grey Toyota Vios decorated with flashing multicoloured lights driving along Sukhumvit Road, heading towards the Chayapruk intersection in Chonburi. The officer stopped the vehicle for inspection. Mr. Inovov, the driver, was fined 500 baht for violating vehicle equipment regulations under the Motor Vehicle Act. Well, I'm giving a 10 out of 10 to Mr. Ivanov for the decoration of his vehicle, and a bit of a thumbs down to the Pattaya police. On to this story from Thai PBS World. Myanmar gets closer to Oscar nomination, and the hit Thai film How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies, known in Thai as Myanmar, is on the shortlist of 15 in the International Feature Film category at the upcoming 97th Academy Awards. And it's the only Asian film on the Oscars list. Now here's the other ones. The final 5 films nominated for the Oscar in this category will be announced on January the 17th. The Academy Awards will be held on March the 2nd, 2025. And it notes, in the film, M is a university dropout, low on money, who volunteers to take care of his terminally ill grandmother in the hope of inheriting her fortune. A delightfully whimsical and very Thai, very authentic movie. I think it's still on Netflix if you want to catch up with it. But good luck with their nomination for the best foreign film in next year's Academy Awards. That brings us to the end of today's TNT. Hopefully you know a bit more about what's happening around Thailand today. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you see. And we'll see you tomorrow with another shirt.